After a few weeks after my election, I was called by Mr. Parizeau to his office. He handed me two big volumes on a study that had been conducted by the Parti Québécois in the mid-'80s, 1985 to be precise. And that study had been done by a professor at Laval University in sociology who had a background as a psychotherapist. And the first part was a very in-depth analysis of people's feelings about Quebec and about Canada. There was one thing troubling with it. It had been done under disguise, actually. The professor had pretended he was preparing a film on the history of Canada, and had so went at his questioning by using a trap, essentially, to have people answer his questions without knowing what his actual purpose was, and thinking it was another purpose. So there was something ethically wrong right there. Also, what was troubling was the depth at which it went, because you know, it's one thing to conduct a focus group, but this went on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and people were questioned and questioned to a level of depth that prodded into their subconscious. Okay, and that was clearly, again, going beyond you know, the ethical boundary. And I was uncomfortable with that. I was even more uncomfortable with the fact that it was being used for political purposes. It's one thing to sell to use things like that to sell cars or beer or cigarettes or whatever, but it's quite a different matter when you're trying to engineer social change. Okay? The level of responsibility is different there. Okay? The commitment, I mean, you're actually playing with the minds of people. That's wrong. Okay?
What did they discuss?
That was the first chapter. The second book was recommendation for a psychotherapy that should be administered to the whole province to make sure that it overcame its fears. That was sick. And it was sickening. And I was very upset when I saw that. And I said to myself, oh, you know, although, you know, I'm not a specialist here, so I should get you know, some kind of support from somebody who has professional expertise in this area. And I went to see Dr. Lazure, a former PQ minister, and a psychiatrist himself. And I said to him, you know, help me. I mean, what do you think of this? And he said, I don't feel comfortable with it. And I don't feel we should be using this in any shape or form. And after a few days, you know, he wasn't answering, so I went back at him several times, and eventually I caught up with him, and he said, well, I understand your concerns, and I agree with you that it should not be used. And so then I went back to see Mr. Parizeau, and I said, the first part I can live with, although I don't like it. The second part, I said, it's Goebbels. And Mr. Parizeau's face just went purple.
I guess he didn't like you in the end, did he?
No, he did not.